Something like that.
What's up, fight fans? This is the Combat Connection, and we are live on the Cage Side Press social media platforms. We have a stacked show for you today, and me and Eddie will be recapping last week's UFC pay-per-view and looking ahead to UFC Fight Night, Cannonier versus Rodriguez. All right, Eddie, let's get to a little bit of the fallout from UFC 312. In the main event, we had Dricus Du Plessis defending his title against Sean Strickland in the highly anticipated rematch after the split decision the first time. This one was more one-sided, with Dricus picking up a unanimous decision victory. Total strikes in this one were 149 to 128 for Dricus Du Plessis, with leg kicks going into account 52 to 9 in the favor of the middleweight champion. He also landed one takedown throughout the contest as well. How impressed were you with Dricus Du Plessis and his title performance in defeating Sean Strickland?
Dude, it's like you ever watch Breaking Bad? At the end, where Jesse goes, "You can't keep getting away with this." That, right? That's how I felt. Like, he can't keep getting away with this. Like, because if you look at Dricus when he fights, he looks like Sean kind of hit it on top of the head, right? It's like, he looks like he rides the short bus. Dricus got a really good shot back. Like, he had to shut up. He was like, "Hey man, you look like you drive it." Like, damn, bro.
Yeah.
Like, but
Dricus Du Plessis is the most underrated trash talker in MMA right now.
100%. And the thing is, he's so calm when he does it. So like, you just fuck, what do I do, right? So anyway, as far as the fight goes, I hate to say it like this because Dricus is good. He's good. You can't knock it. But I feel like Sean lost that more than Dricus won it. Honestly, like, I get it. Sean Strickland is the teep and jab guy. He's not. We can get into this in a second as far as Sean Strickland goes, but it just felt like Sean didn't have the output that he normally does. Obviously, we talk about the staff and whatever else is going on with him. Who knows? I know he put out a video and everything, but it just felt like Sean lost it more than Dricus won it up until like the third round. And after that, he just quit. It just looked like Sean quit. He was done.
After his nose broke, it looked like he was trying to survive.
100%. So it's not like he quit because he could have found a way out. But as soon as he got his nose broken, he knew it was over. It's done, right? You fucking with it over and over again during the fight and shit. It's over. It's done. So, look, man, good for Dricus Du Plessis. Sean Strickland's got some questions to answer to himself now, and now we're just waiting to see who's going to be, who's next.
I thought this was really interesting because it was more one-sided than the first fight, and Dricus Du Plessis actually limited his weapons for this one, only going for one takedown, in the fight when he got 4 in the last fight. So he really beat Sean Strickland at his own game over the course of 5 rounds. Absolutely dominant performance from Dricus Du Plessis. And you got to look at where he matches up historically with the rest of the division, right? Mm-hmm. So he's finished Izzy. He sat here and beaten a former middleweight champion in Robert Whittaker. He's beaten another former middleweight champion twice now in Sean Strickland. This guy might be the second greatest middleweight in the history of this sport behind Anderson Silva. At least I would say so. Now, Izzy did have a good run, but I'm not the biggest Izzy fan in the world because, he didn't really face the elite level grapplers. I know Yoel Romero is, the most credentialed grappler and was a silver medalist, but at the same time, he doesn't go for takedown attempts with the same regularity that we see with other people. So, I thought the strength of competition there for Izzy was a little lower, and Dricus Du Plessis is really making a name for himself. And it looked like he might be trying to set up with a fight with Alex Pereira in the future. Do you think that's something that the public could get behind? Or do you think Khamzat Chimaev is immediately next for Dricus Du Plessis?
Khamzat. It is time. Dana's buddy has all the strings now. He could bring in whoever he wants he's kicking everyone out anyway, but he's bringing whoever he wants into the country. Khamzat will get in the country. He'll fight in the U.S., and he'll fight for the title. So it's got to be that. As far as Dricus possibly being like second best ever, I mean, we can get there. But I guarantee you, even if we get there, he will not get just off. And I'm going off of Devin's comment right here. Dricus has terrible technique with amazing application and game planning. He's not that good, but the way he uses the skills that he has and the game planning is way too good to ignore, right? But I feel like he's not gonna get the credit he deserves if he actually gets to that point where we can call him one of the GOATs at 185. That
He
being said,
does kind of blitz forward at times, and it does
Yeah.
look reckless, right? So it's not the most technical thing that we've ever
Yeah.
seen, but at the same time, it's effective. He does put his head down and charge forward, but sometimes that can lead him into takedown attempts as he gets into the clinch scenarios, or he can, rough people up against the cage, kind of like we saw with Strickland last weekend. So, and Devin did put here as well to my point about Izzy, that Dricus is fighting far better dudes than Izzy did during his title reign. I agree with that 100%. Like Vettori and these guys that he had 2 fights against, they're in the back of the queue now. They're nowhere near title opportunities. Yeah. And we got a new crop and a new wave coming forward here. And Dricus is going to have to defend against those guys like Imavov and Khamzat Chimaev. So we'll see here historically where he stands.
But the thing is that rush. So we're talking about the rush. He rushes forward. Like he does this shit. He walks forward and does this. Sure, it gets him in the takedowns, right? But Alex Pereira is an amazing counter striker. He will land that left hook on his chin so fast and put Dricus, at least force Dricus to have to like fight through some, get rocked and everything.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to see that fight right now. Like let Dricus get through Khamzat. I like what Devin was talking about here, where he says if he beats Khamzat, Imavov, him or Izzy, I want Dricus to go past Khamzat, past Imavov, and then at least one more before we start talking about super fights. Who knows if that can happen? But I do not want him to beat Khamzat and be like, yeah, I'm ready for Alex Pereira, and then get knocked the fuck out. Because then what?
Yeah.
Who cares? At that point, I don't care anymore.
Pereira's scheduled with Magomed Ankalaev here in the future as well. So they do kind of have some unfinished business there in both weight classes before that potential matchup could happen. But it does look like there's some chippiness between Dricus du Plessis and Alex Pereira. I don't really know where that comes from, but there is some kind of like silent competitiveness there. Now, Devin says, totally agree that you can't have those openings against Alex. Yeah, absolutely. And I think Dricus, honestly, the most impressive thing to him is his mind, in my opinion. I think he is such a smart fighter. And I'm not saying you can tell how smart he is through his trash talk, but when he's able to come up with stuff on the fly like he is, he's able to do a lot of that in fight too. He comes up with things that don't normally work for other people because he's able to think of them on the fly and read and react in these fights so well. I think he's a great champion. He obviously has the physical abilities, looks like is built like a tank. He's well-rounded. He's good wherever it goes. He's got 9 submission wins or wherever he's at right now after that Whitaker submission. But Dricus is an incredible athlete, and I can't wait to see what he does moving forward, Eddie.
What I do want to see is him pull off the South Africa card. It's important. Here's the thing: the UFC misses the boat so up. They're the best MMA promotion in the world, but they miss the boat on this all the time. You had 3 Mexican champions at one time. You don't take them to Mexico. You had your Francis Ngannou at one point. They take him to Africa.
Zhang right? And Zhang Xiaonan.
How do you not do that in China? So, dude, this is an easy one. UFC.
The only thing I see with Dricus in South Africa is that at one time they did have Cameron Simon and they did have some other guys from that region that you could maybe build a card around. After Simon got destroyed by Peyton Talbot, there's not a lot of South African prospects that you could really build a card with behind Dricus. That's the only thing I'm thinking of.
It's because Simon stopped kicking dudes in the dick. That's the problem. He wins because come on, dude. Every fight he had, he kicked the dude in the dick like 4 times. And then he loses when he doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's wild. But anyway, I'm not saying it's a cheat. I'm just, joking.
Yeah. And I agree with Devin. I think that a lot of his athletic ability makes up for some of the lack of technique, but he has an incredible grit and determination to him, and he's a well-rounded mixed martial artist himself. So congratulations to Dricus du Plessis on the win. He is a classy champion in victory and a classy competitor altogether. So congratulations to him. And moving on down the card, we did have another UFC title fight between Zhang Wei Li and Tatiana Suarez. Now, Suarez actually came into this one as the betting favorite, according to Vegas odds makers, but was handled easily in a unanimous decision victory from Weili Zhang. Now, the total strikes in this one, 232 to 63, 1 takedown apiece for each competitor, but the control time was on the favor of Zhang, 10 minutes to 5 minutes for Suarez. What really impressed me the most, Eddie, in this one is Zhang's ability to counter wrestle. Now, at times, Suarez would get in deep on these shots, and it looked like she had an opening for takedowns. But Weili really was able to reverse her, get on top in positions, and ride out rounds on multiple occasions. And for being someone who was undersized in this matchup, I thought this was just an incredible performance by her. I couldn't believe she was an underdog going into last week. I thought that was crazy. She was the more active fighter. She had fought better competition and had a plentiful more amount of experience coming into this one than Tatiana Suarez did. Now, all credit and all respect to Tatiana Suarez. She is a beast. But she just ran into, in my opinion, a more experienced and more well-rounded fighter in Weili Zhang this weekend or last weekend.
Right, and the thing about it is the what do you call it? The Eddie sleeps in his baseball cap. If I sleep in my baseball cap, bro, like that'd be fun. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. Why not? I like hats. Suarez also a chance to be the best due to injury. Yeah, so the neck injury and everything, right? No, and that's my boy Jesse. Oh, dude, Jesse is old school keyboard warriors. What's up, brother? Jesse's such a cool guy, dude. Anyway, but what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so I think Suarez is time away. Weili's had so much experience, so much time in the actual under the cap is another cap. I can't even say nothing. Jesse knows me. There isn't, but you know what I'm saying.
Hey, I do have one question for you, Eddie.
Yeah.
MMA Guru made a lot of headlines over the weekend when he said that American wrestlers are not as dominant as they used to be. Normally, if we heard that there was an Olympian coming in, that they'd be able to take people down and get into that top 5 really easy and probably title contention. And that's true historically when you look back. Mark Kerr, Mark Coleman, Kevin Randleman all had tremendous success coming over from either high-level Division I or Olympic-level wrestling. When we had Tatiana Suarez, someone who was on that Olympic level of wrestling, coming in here, she did seem one-dimensional. I don't want to, harp on Tatiana. I'm sure she's taken the loss, very, bad. But at the same time, it did look like she was one-dimensional and had no answer on the feet for Weili Zhang in that contest. As I mentioned, the strike totals, almost 200 more strikes for Zhang in this one. It was really, It was surprising, but as Jesus says here, the sport has evolved. Exactly, and that was kind of the point that Guru made this weekend. And Daniel Cormier on the Chael Sonnen and DC show said, he thought he was wrong. He thought that Olympic level wrestling still is superior than to the other forms of martial arts that people can get into, whether it be combat sambo, kickboxing, karate. He still believes that when you're on that level of wrestling, it carries weight. But we're seeing with Bo Nickel, he can be one-dimensional at times as well. When he fought Paul Craig, that didn't look too great on the feet, in my opinion. So what do you think, Eddie? Has the game passed some of these Olympic-level wrestlers?
I think it's, and I hate to say it this way, but we're pretty damn coddled in this country. We're pretty damn coddled. Why are the Dagestani wrestlers so crazy good, right? Why? Because... And I know, and Weili did learn her wrestling here, but she's a different cat. She's not from here. You know what I mean? She's used to, and I hate to say it this way, but we're not used to grinding in this country no more. It's how it's been, right? If you look at the American wrestlers that really, really, really go in hardcore and make it to the Olympics, Henry Cejudo, DC, Bo Nickel, all these other guys, like they were like maniacal in their training, right? Americans, we don't do that no more, right? So look at Dagestani. In Dagestan, all they do is wrestle in the freezing cold. And they put themselves in the worst possible conditions, and they train for days at a time, right? So, and exactly, Jesse put it exactly how I want to do. Jesse knows me so well. They're fighting for survival, not for a medal, 100%. They're not fighting in Dagestan for the gold medal. They don't want to bring the gold back to Dagestan. I mean, it's nice, but they want to go and get paid so they can survive and feed their families. It's a different type of mentality. Weili comes
the
from
level of intensity.
Yeah, but to me, it's all up here. All of it's up here, right? Could Tatiana have? Okay, let me put it this way: does Tatiana have the skills to wrestle and beat Weili Zhang? Sure, right? But her injury is a different kind of case. But we've seen other wrestlers come in like, oh, they're gonna be able to wrestle and do this and shit, and then that Americans, and they can't do anything against these Dagestanis and shit like that. So, and Weili is an underrated wrestler, and
she really is. She's good on her own.
And every time Tatiana tried to get her takedown, Tatiana was getting punched in the face.
Yeah,
every single time. It had nothing to do with Tatiana's technique. Her technique is good, right? Just Weili's good at stopping them, getting her own underhooks, turning Tatiana towards the cage, and also elbow, punch, inside elbow. She did not let Tatiana breathe and think, okay, what's next? And like that. And again, a lot of it has to do with the time away for Tatiana. The sport evolves. Tatiana's not as sharp as she used to be during that win streak, and this is the result you get. Will we all hope to see Suarez be the champion? Absolutely, but I already knew Weili's a different cat.
Now, I was listening to Mayhem Miller actually on the comedian Adam MMA Roasted, the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Mayhem Miller, and he was saying that, Weili Zhang has been, competing in mixed martial arts or been around Kung Fu or been around some of this, and she was probably 6 years old. Now, Tatiana Suarez has been in wrestling, but she's not been training the kicks, right? She hasn't been training the other aspects of the game. Weili Zhang has been putting it together throughout her years and into adulthood, while Tatiana Suarez really was honing in on one foundational aspect, which is wrestling. In my opinion, I believe that a lot of these American wrestlers, if they see in the future for themselves that they may compete in mixed martial arts, I think that they have to do their due diligence sooner to sharpen those other aspects of their game, whether that's taking kickboxing classes when you're in high school and college or whatever that may look like. It does seem like the game has passed some of these wrestlers by at times, and they're going to have to evolve with it if they want to be as dominant as they can be. Now, because I do agree with DC in a sense that it is very dominant by these people when they are that high level of a wrestler, right? But you have to be able to put it together. And if someone's not fearing your hands, they can sit there and it looks like you're telegraphing takedowns because they're expecting it. And it's easier for them to defend against. If you're able to put, like with George St. Pierre had a great jab. And when he had that jab going, that's when he had the best and most effective takedowns for himself as well. So it's like, I feel like that these guys are going to have to evolve at some point, and females in this situation. But obviously the Olympic level wrestling is nothing to sneeze at either. And it can be successful. I'll
put it this way. Khabib Nurmagomedov taught me a lot about how to train to win. Okay. He came in as a wrestler, into MMA, doing this and that and killing everybody for sure. 100%. Did he come into the UFC and keep wrestling and fuck people up? 100%. You know what he did do? Take his ass to AKA over with Javier Mendez and learn how to dodge punches, how to punch back, how to block, how to parry, how to everything, how to get around. He developed. He didn't have the greatest hands. We know that. I mean, I know he rocked Conor that one time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People forget he dropped Conor in that fight because of the threat of the takedown.
And yeah, exactly. And on top of that, like you said, if a wrestler's not afraid of the hands of the striking, they'll shoot on you all day. Khabib was not afraid of striking. He goes, "Hey, I know what to do if this dude throws something." It's a perfect way to do it. Islam Makhachev is a higher level of that at this point, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he hasn't, he hasn't surpassed Khabib just yet, but he's this fucking close to doing it, and it's because of that. He's a way better striker and just as good of a wrestler. So it's gonna be cool to see the evolution of the Dagestanis specifically, but of the sport as a whole.
Absolutely. And women's mixed martial arts is kind of still in that infancy stage, yes, where we saw when we were with Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz and people like that in the male side of the sport. So these women are only going to improve as we, move further down the line and time goes by. But Weili Zhang, a great champion, in my opinion, the number one pound for pound female fighter in the world. In a great performance over Tatiana Suarez, picking up a unanimous decision victory. Eddie, is there another fight on this card that you want to talk about? It wasn't the deepest pay-per-view in the world, but were there any standout performances for you other than this?
Off the top of my head, no. I want to ask you one thing real quick on Weili before we get into that. Mm-hmm. Who's next? Because I have the fight I want to see. I know the one person I want to see. There's only one person out there for her to fight. Only one human being she needs to fight. The Bullet. Give me Bullet Weili for the 125.
Weili moves up?
Yeah. They'll have a challenge for 125. So, they obviously for champ status or whatever you want to call it. Who cares about that, by the way? I don't give a fuck. But I want to see the matchup because Bullet's wrestling is really good. And her striking is really good. Weili's wrestling is really good. Her striking is even better.
Yeah.
Tell me you don't want to see. It'd be like watching Scorpion versus Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat. Like, oh shit, what's going on?
That would be a great fight, and the size advantage for Shevchenko as well in that one.
And we see. Hey, look, Weili fights chicks bigger than her, and she does just fine. Mm-hmm. I want to see that fight. I want to see either the wrestling negate each other or the striking negate each other because it'd be a fun. Look, tell me right now. I'll tell you right now. If they fight each other and they're like, I can't take her down, and and Bullet goes, I can't take her down. Fuck it, we're throwing hands. Holy shit, that would be crazy.
Yeah, it'd be Joanna and Weili 2.0 basically.
Ooh, dude, someone's face is not making it home clean.
And I do want to point one thing out about Weili before we get off of the co-main event from last weekend. She has become a matchup nightmare for these wrestlers. If you look at Carla Esparza, absolutely dominated that contest. You look at Tatiana this weekend. she's able to defend takedowns. Her hips are incredible. She is such a great coordinated and flexible athlete. It's really incredible. So congrats to her on the victory last weekend. And who won fight of the night? Was that the Cody Steele and Rong Zhu fight?
You know what? I don't remember, and I remember
that was a good scrap.
That was a great scrap. What was the other fight that I want to talk about? Oh, I feel bad for Jimmy Crute. That's it. I just feel bad for Jimmy Crute because if he lost that fight, he's out. Instead, he got to a draw, so we're kind of hoping he doesn't get.
I mean, he 10-8'd in the first round, and like he probably should have finished that fight at one point, but Bellator fought back into it. I thought Jimmy Crute won the fight, honestly, Eddie. But
then I was very impressed with Mikhailov, Jonathan Mikhailov, the second fight of the night. He has this funky lead, like question mark kick that you don't see coming. It's fucking wild. And I'm sitting there watching. Who did he fight? He fought fucking Kevin. You said and Kevin is all right against strikers, and he was getting caught with that kick like it was nothing to the point where like, Mikhailov had a really easy fight, basically, right? Like, and so I was impressed by that. Now I want to see him do it against somebody else now that there's tape on his ass. Like, all right, now do that funky ass little question mark kick, bro. You ain't Michelle Waterson. I want to see you do it.
Yeah, that. Great performance by him. I actually had Gisette winning that contest. I thought the experience there would play a factor, but at the end of the day, it did not. UFC 312 is in the books, but something that is on the horizon that the PFL has just announced is a potentially very exciting, month-long event at Universal Studios in Orlando featuring welterweight and featherweight contenders. The prize has dropped from $1 million to $500,000, but there is a very good pool of talent that are in these two tournaments in the welterweight and featherweight divisions. We had Magomed Umatov, who will be in this tournament in welterweight, Logan Storley, Jason Jackson, amongst others. So there is some big names there for fight fans that they will know from being former Bellator champions or contenders in the PFL. And there also is a good featherweight crop of fighters as well. What do you make of this, Eddie? They're going to be in one place for an entire month. Some people say this is a bad sign. I think that it might be shaking it up. At least they're back in the United States and fight fans in America can watch the fights. But what do you think this means for the PFL moving forward?
It's a weird thing to see. Okay. The way I put it is, so, when they went to Madison Square Garden, right? They're like, we're at Madison Square Garden.
They were in the side.
They were in the theater. You were at the theater at Madison Square Garden. And the first time that the MSG and did that, they just kept saying MSG, MSG, MSG. They got clowned so badly the next time they had to actually say the theater, right? So, that to me, it's lower than that, right? Who knows what kind of deal they got in Orlando or with Universal? Who knows?
I don't even know how many seats they hold at Universal. I don't know if there's even a stadium.
Well, and I'm sure they can move things around and set it up. We have to see what it looks like, right? But how are you going to get people to go in Orlando? Like, are there that many PFL fans? Are they going to?
I did see the prices. Now the prices are fair. They have $250 cage side seats, which you don't get anywhere else. So I know the product isn't what the UFC is, but if they do have fighters there like Umatov and Logan Storley and Jason Jackson and these guys that we know, $250 to sit there cage side is a good price for fight fans, in my opinion. I believe what I saw was $50 or it might have been. I think it was $50 to get you in the building, but $250 is cage side. They did send that out through the press. But
do you remember when Dana said, he goes, hey, they were giving away tickets or they were doing 2-for-1 tickets and shit, and everyone thought it was bullshit? It was true. It happened. Okay, so keep that in mind. To Universal, how are you going to fill that place up even if you have enough seats? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, and it was okay. Not to shit on them. This is what I see. What I see is this: like you said, the return of the U.S. It's expensive to put any events here, right? In Riyadh, I mean, they were getting Riyadh money, right? So cool, but now you're back in the States and you got to do it in the cheapest way possible, and it works. And hopefully it'll work. We'll see. I don't know. I'm at the point where I've lost all faith in Don Davis. Completely lost faith in that dude. Like you could tell he goes on LinkedIn and hits, AI write my post, and he puts these like weird ass, half-ass inspirational bullshit about being an entrepreneur. Bro, you're not an entrepreneur no more. You're a fight promoter. Promote the fuck.
Yeah, and maybe we will as we get close there. And I think there is some promotional pieces that they could do, right? So they're going to have the shots of the people at Universal Studio riding the rides and having a great time outside
Right.
of the venue and stuff. And it's going to look good on TV, in my opinion. It always, their presentation on television does look good, regardless of the venue. Even when we were in Nashville in a very small, 5,000 seat arena, it still did look good on television. They did have, performances from country artists there live, like Big and Rich. So they do try and make it a good feel for the fight fans in the stadium. But at the same time, I just hope that they can sell tickets and make this profitable so that we can get more quality fights like Francis Ngannou and Dakota Ditcheva and these stars that they do have, like Usman Nurmagomedov and Paul Hughes, and we can get them in America to Chicago and Las Vegas and other arenas where, we can actually fill stadiums and put great cards on. But at the same time, I don't know what this new season of the PFL is going to look like. It looks like if you win 3 times, you're a tournament champion. It's going to be a smaller playoff system and less fights to win the total grand prize. What do you make of the new format, Eddie? And do you think the new format at all is concerning?
I think the entire product is concerning. You were just talking about the presentation on TV. I disagree. I think, God, I hate saying this, man. I really do. I'm not trying to shit on these guys. I promise. I know it sounds like I do, but I'm not. They're just not good. Please replace the entire fucking commentary team. Everyone complains about the UFC commentary. Oh my God, have you heard the PFLs? For fucking crying out loud. Yeah. Replace all. I love Randy Couture.
Hey, they brought back Jimmy Smith for Bellator Champion Series, and then they killed Bellator Champion Series. But Jimmy Smith's a good play-by-play guy.
Bring Jimmy in.
Yeah,
bring Jimmy in. Okay. For the love of God, don't touch Mike Goldberg. God, watching the GFL draft brought back all kinds of fucking like.
For the first 5 minutes, I was sold. For the first 5 minutes, I was like, "Goldie's back! Oh my God!"
And then I was done.
Talk for 2 hours, and I'm like, "Oh God!"
Stop. All right. Please do not bring in Brendan Schaub. Please do not bring in again.
You know who'd be good on commentary, Eddie? Rampage Jackson. He'd be great.
He'd at least be funny. You know what it is? And I put it this way. And I'll say this because this is what I would like to see. I want to see a former fighter that can actually like articulate. So like a Dom Cruz type of guy. I know Dom Cruz is not going to do the UFC, so they can forget him. But like a Dom Cruz type, right? That even if people hate what he says sometimes, he's spot on most of the time. Maybe a Bisping type, right?
Gilbert Melendez is out there.
We can try Gil. So here's what I want to try. Okay. All right, PFL, check it out. Give Randy and Sean and
Dan Hardy.
Thank you, Dan. And Dan, just a week off. Just hey, take this one off, bro. It's cool. Give me John Morgan. Give me Gilbert Melendez, and give me Rampage Jackson. Okay. John will keep the bus on the train on the tracks. Okay. All right. Gil will give you good analysis, and Rampage will get you fucking laughing.
Yep.
Let's just try that. Okay. No more of that. And then at the weigh-ins, stop for the love of God. Stop the fucking interviews after they hit the scale. We don't care. Get them weighed in, get the little flexy shit, get the face off, get the fuck off. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Like you do too much PFL with this shit. So it's honestly, like I always say, dude, every little, like all little things done correctly, right? Small things done right, the whole picture will look perfect, right? But you're trying to hit home runs everywhere you go, and you're missing every time, right? Like you're swinging before the pitch even gets to you. It looks silly. So it's wild. So change that and just start fixing little things here and there, right?
What
but I love the field.
I'm sorry. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Oh no. I like the rule changes. I like getting rid of the tournament. All right. I'm not a huge fan of the whole going down to 500,000. I get it, so it's no big deal. I love the elbows. Oh my God, I love the elbows. Okay. So the little things here and there, cool. Let's just keep going. Let's keep fixing things here and there, right? It's not expensive. You get to go.
What'd you make of the talent pool, Eddie? We did have some good fighters. Featherweight might not be as stacked as welterweight is, but there are some quality fighters throughout the 2 divisions in Universal Studios. What'd you think of it, or were you underwhelmed? And Movlid Khabilov, the Russian killer from a couple years ago, who had that viral flying knee knockout, I believe over Damon Jackson.
I think so.
He will be back in the featherweights, and it looks like he's going to be the odds-on favorite to win there. What'd you make overall of the talent pool?
So when I look at that kind of thing, I have to look at it in 2 ways. One, as myself, someone that covers the sport and knows the sport and all that, and then I have to put my casual fan hat on. If I'm a casual fan, who the fuck are these guys? I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
There's no Robbie Lawler here. There's no, freaking there's not even a Josh Thompson. There's nothing like that. I don't know who these guys are. There's some Amibovs and Magadovs and also Dobbs and this shit.
Like we know who Kabilov is. We know. Yeah. Or Kabalayev, but I mean, I'm getting his name wrong, but we know who the guy is.
But you know what I'm talking about? Like, that's what I'm saying. Who's going to tune in and watch it? Right now, I'm not saying these guys don't deserve to get it. 100% deserve to. Okay. And again, this is one of those build things. But why the hell would you piss off Patricio Pitbull? Why would you piss off Patchy Mix? Why would you piss off Patricio Pitbull? You get what I'm saying? You already have these stars. Fucking push them. Goddamn. I mean, Dakota Ducheva should be the face of your freaking promotion right now.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. But we did see one of the Bellator fighters now cross over into this new 2025 tournament. Jeremy Kennedy is going to be there in the featherweight. I do like Jeremy's chances in this one. I think that he has the ability, depending upon matchup, to go very far in this tournament. Would you like to see more Bellator fighters? Now, I know it looks like some of them are trying to get to the UFC or other places, but would you like to see more Bellator fighters kind of integrated into these tournaments as well?
I would like to see it. But first of all, I'm so happy JBC going to PFL and taking a shot at the tournament for sure. But the problem is they don't want to be there anymore. And they don't trust Don Davis. They don't trust Pete Murray. They don't trust PFL. Yeah. I mean, they've shown it. When your biggest stars come out saying, hey, man, I haven't gotten a fight in fucking year and a half. Get me out of here. Like, what are the little guys supposed to think? Right? The unranked guys and girls, right? So they got a lot of work to do before we get to that point to where we can talk about them having big stars that want to stick around. Look, man, when they asked Dakota about going to the UFC, she always grins and smiles and, oh, well, I'm comfortable here. And you can see right through her, like, I can't wait to get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm going to make as much money here as possible, and then I'm going to bounce and be the biggest women's star in the sport.
Go make more money.
Credit to her though, like she is literally like rowing the boat herself for the PFL. She is the backbone to the company at this point. Francis is going to fight one time a year, if that. She's going to be the consistent star here that's going to get 3-4 fights and defend titles. So, in my opinion, she's going to be able to do whatever she wants and then move on. What's going on, Capitan? Thanks for joining us.
Fucho, ¿cómo estás, Capitan?
But yeah, I agree with you. I think that Dakota Ducheva is by far the star here, and it's only a matter of time before she gets, the money in her pocket and moves over to the UFC as well. And, we're talking about people at, 115, 125. What would you think about her and Weili Zhang?
Dakota Ducheva and Weili Zhang? Ooh, that'd be fun.
That would, wouldn't it?
That'd be fun. Why not? Shit. I mean, maybe we'll get it. I don't know. Weili will still be around when Dakota finally gets over there. But
yeah, maybe 2 years from now. You never know.
Yeah, it just kind of depends. Like the PFL needs to hang on to their stars and stuff like that. So, and again, who knows what's going on behind the doors, behind the scenes, and everything. But it's still a mess. But hey, Don, you're making headway, bro. Elbows, get rid of the garbage season, and figure out this tournament more Grand Prix style than anything. All right, we got something. We're cooking with something now.
Yeah. Well, we move on from the PFL to the well-oiled machine that is the UFC. This weekend, we have a fight night between middleweight contenders Jared Cannonier and Gregory Rodriguez. Jared Cannonier comes into this one with a record of 17-8, while the RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez comes into this contest at 16-5. I got to tell you, Eddie, I don't know what the odds are yet. I'll look them up here. Or do they say the odds if we scroll up?
Let's find out. Yeah. Plus 185.
Okay, that's a little surprising to me at start, but I am going to go with Gregory Rodriguez in this one. I can't believe that he's over a 2-1 favorite.
That's kind of weird.
But odds makers are favoring the size advantage. And, Jared Cannonier has been through a lot, right? He's been through different divisions from heavyweight to light heavyweight to middleweight. He's been a title challenger. He's had to fight these guys that are up and comers. And it was just stopped by Imavov. But, Gregory Rodriguez is as durable as they come. I only see fireworks in this matchup, Eddie. What do you make of the main event for this weekend?
Someone's got to go to sleep. They got to, and I know, they're gonna, the commentator team is gonna be like, "Don't blink, folks." Someone's gonna, and that's gonna jinx it. We're gonna get a 5-round freaking fight. But this is a massive. It's the bigger fight for Rodriguez than it is for RoboCop than it is for Jared. Jared's been there. He's stuck around the top. He's coming off a loss. He can't lose this one. Cannot, because he's gone. Not gone, but he's done going for a title.
Yeah, title contention is over if he loses this weekend.
For RoboCop, an impressive finish, you can call for it. I mean, and I know I don't even think he's ranked, but Is he ranked?
No,
Gregory?
I do not believe he is ranked,
Yeah,
but he
so-
will be this weekend if he picks the winner.
He'll be ranked 100%. He'll call for the ranking. He'll get it. He should get it. And at that point, you can start calling out top 10 guys, top 5 guys, and make your way up.
Yeah.
And,
And Rodriguez has won 3 in a row, right?
Mhm.
So he's beaten Chris Leroy Duncan, Dennis Tululin, and Brad Tavares, which, are guys who have been hanging around the division for a very long time. He's going to fight another veteran of the sport here in Jared Cannonier this weekend. Do you think RoboCop has what it takes to absorb the punishment of Cannonier and dish out enough for him to get the finish of his own?
I think RoboCop's going to try and finish this like as quick as he can.
Mm-hmm.
And not by rushing and by throwing crazy shit. He's gonna do it by picking the spots, right? So might not end in the first, might go to the second, maybe third, but I think his deal is knock this dude out, okay? Make myself undeniable, all right? And with the way the middleweight division is working out, he could jump up with another win or two against ranked guys and steal someone's title shot. I mean, let's say he wins here. That'd be what, 4 in a row, right? You beat.
Yes.
I mean, you could even beat one ranked guy who's like, between 10 and 15.
Hermanson.
Right. And jump right into the top 10. And once you're in the top 10, all bets are off. You can get a title shot off of that. No problem. We've seen worse. We've seen guys that are unranked for like a year or two get title shots and they're not even ranked. And suddenly you check their website and suddenly they're ranked. Oh shit.
Steve Erceg.
And I love Steve Erceg. That guy's
I love Steve too. I think he should have won
but,
my fight against Pantoja.
But that's my point. Like they just threw him up in the rankings just to make the case, right? Which doesn't means nothing to anybody that pays attention.
Yeah.
But either way, like I don't know. I think Rodriguez gets a knockout here. He's gonna have a ranking. One more ranked fight, and he wins that one. Jeez, he can start pushing.
So Eddie, we do have to say Rodriguez is a former Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and world champion. He does have the grappling advantage over Jared Cannonier, but at times it looks like he's content with standing and trading on the feet with these guys. Do you think he plays that game of standing on the feet and trading with Cannonier, or do we see the grappling advantage utilized this weekend from Gregory Rodriguez?
I could see him try to test the hands out here and there. I think maybe if Cannonier is able to land a solid one on him, maybe RoboCop goes, oh shit, I didn't like that. Let's take his ass down. He will. He'll take him down. And even if he doesn't take him down, he somehow ends up on bottom. I like his jiu-jitsu way better than Jared's, and I like Jared a lot. But you know what I mean? Like I think for lack of a better term, and it's gonna sound terrible about Jared, but I think this is his RoboCop's fight to lose. So
that's a good point. I have to agree with you. This is RoboCop's one chance to get his ranking and title opportunity. He's got to win this one, put 1 or 2 more together, and he's right on the doorstep, of him having a legitimate chance to either be in a title eliminator or a shot, depending upon the opponents that he has if he beats Jared Cannonier. But
you know what I want to see? If Strickland's probably done fighting for titles, but if RoboCop knocks out Jared Cannonier and he gets on the mic, goes, I want to fight that Sean Strickland. Give me Strickland. You got Robo Obama against Trump's boy. Like that would be, Dana would love that. You know how he would push the hell out of that on a fight night in like DC or some shit like that. Sorry, I like WWE type storylines. Those are fun.
Yeah, I think there's a lot, there's a lot of opportunity for Gregory Rodriguez if he wins this weekend. I always point out the 2 American prospects because I want to see them come in. I want to see Bo Nickel and Joe Pyfer, get another chance up the ring. I know Pyfer lost to Jack Hermanson.
Rewind real quick. Sorry. I need you rewind.
Yeah.
You want to see Joe Pyfer sleep Bo Nickel?
No. I might want to see Rodriguez get a chance against Pyfer if he's victorious.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I want to see those 2 guys face legitimate competition at some point. Now, if Bo goes and fights Jared Cannonier, if Jared Cannonier loses this weekend, I think that would be a good fight. And I think it would also be a good fight if maybe Pyfer was involved in here somewhere with the winner. So, I like those American prospects. I think they're going to do well. And we'll see if they stack up with some of the middleweight elite like we're going to see in the main event this weekend. But
I'll say this. Bo Nickel better wrestle his ass off. Okay.
He can't really do it against Rodriguez. That's the thing.
Bro, I've seen Bo Nickel better keep on wrestling all his opponents and win that way and stop trying to strike, bro. Because I've seen people with no arms strike better than fucking Bo Nickel. That was god fucking awful last time out. I'll say it. There's no way he doesn't know it, right? Look, when you watch his demeanor before that fight, yeah, I'm Bo Nickel. Yeah, I'm the best wrestler. Yeah, I'm gonna be world champion. Yeah. After the fight, getting shit on online for fucking weeks about how terrible his striking is. I don't know if you watch his podcast lately. He's a little bitter. He's a little salty. Now he's got a little bit of an attitude. He's a little mad that people are doubting his striking. I'm not saying he can't get better. I'm saying stop doing it for now.
Yeah. And, maybe he should have shot for takedowns against Paul Craig, but
Hell
at
yeah.
the same time, it's kind of like Rodriguez. It's a double-edged sword. You shoot against the jiu-jitsu guy and get it to the mat. That's kind of where they want it too. So we'll see with Bo Nickel moving forward. But Gregory Rodriguez or Jared Cannonier are kind of, maybe matchup and stylistic problems for Bo Nickel. So I think it'd be interesting moving forward. But that is the main event this weekend. Moving on down the card to the co-main event, we have a matchup between contender and longtime UFC vet Calvin Kattar, who is 23-8, facing the streaking Youssef Zalal, who comes into this one at 16-5. Eddie Zalal is a ball of athleticism. This guy is a finisher, but Calvin Kattar is one of the most technical boxers that we have. We saw him get boxed up previously against Max Holloway, obviously, but when he's in these mid-level competitions, he does have good boxing. The former Gold Glove background from Kattar. Will it be enough versus Zalal this weekend?
No. I'd say no.
What's the odds on this one? Scroll down.
Let's find out.
Fuck!
Oh I told you. God. He ain't got no chance, bro.
Oh, my God.
Although that makes me want to put a couple bucks on Kattar, see what happens if you pull some shit off. But
it really does.
But too athletic, too young. Too young? Is he younger than him by a lot or a little bit? Let's see. Kattar is he's like mid to late 30s, right? Kattar?
Yeah, Kattar is
36.
Wear and tear, the wear and tear, the tread on the tires is more than
Zalal. Might as well be 40. 28-year-old Youssef Zalal with only 20-some fights to Kattar's like 30-some fights. So no, dude. Zalal's gonna fuck him up. And I hate to say that because it's
Zalal has won 6 in a row with every single fight coming by finish.
Right. And Kattar's defense is solid, but it's not great. You know what I mean? Like you can say Max Holloway. I just love how he goes, I'm the best boxer. The freshman came to play. Like when Max Holloway did that, beat the snot out of Calvin Kattar, you saw Kattar lose. Like literally, you can literally see years of his career fly away as he's getting punched. Right.
Yeah.
And so that I think that fight took a lot of him. And I appreciate you, Jesse. You have a good night, bro. You're the man. But and again, Jesse's my brother, dude. He's a good dude. But Kattar to me, he's just kind of, I think it's passing by. And again, I hate saying that about fighters, right? Because you never know in this game. But the odds, Youssef is skyrocketing 6 in a row, probably 7 after this Saturday.
Yeah.
And Kattar's gonna and Kattar's what 3 losses in a row for Kattar?
Let me look up real quick.
I want to say it is. I'll have it right here. Hang on. 3 in a row. Josh Emmett, split decision loss. He injured his knee against Arnold Allen, and then he got decision by Aljo. Now I know those aren't knockouts, but those are fucking losses, right? And when
he did have that win versus Giga, but that was a hard-earned victory as well.
That was difficult. So I think this is a loss. Again, another fight that's a loss to lose, and he's not going to. Like he's not going to lose that fight.
No.
Yeah.
Well, with our predictions this weekend, I guess we didn't give a main event prediction. I'm going to take the RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez by submission. Is that what you got as well?
TKO, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Jared's chin gets rocked a little bit. He might get in because RoboCop, once he smells blood, it's nasty. So if he decides to go that way, because if RoboCop decides to be patient, great, he'll still win. But I got RoboCop or whatever he wants at this point.
Yeah. Now in the co-main event, I am going to rely on the toughness of Calvin Kattar to get this one to go the distance. I think this is going to be the first time that Zalal has faced someone of Kattar's stature in his last 6 fights. So I do believe it's going to be a little bit harder for him to get Kattar out of there than some of his previous opponents. I'm going to take Zalal in this win by decision. But this could be a very good fight and potentially the fight of the night as well if this stays standing and these get 2 traded out.
Yeah, no, it could definitely happen.
Yeah. Do you got Zalal by finish?
Yeah, knockout. Yeah, knockout. Should be ugly. Flying knees, some crazy shit. I don't know.
So the next one that we have on the UFC main card is kind of a interesting stylistic matchup between striker Edmen Shahbazyan and grappler Dylan Budka. We've seen Edmen Shahbazyan struggle in the past with high-level grapplers. It seems like he does get controlled on the ground at times. That is his kryptonite. But he is also very athletic and fluid on the feet when he can defend takedowns. Who do you like in this one? In my opinion, a classic striker versus grappler matchup.
I like Edmen. Budka got beat by Petrosky, right? And they were like I don't remember that. Was that fight? Do you remember that fight? I don't remember. It was like mostly standing, or they were just wrestling the whole time because Petrosky's a freaking wrestler.
Yeah,
But,
Petrosky fights later on this card too, in
yeah.
a very interesting matchup himself. But
I'll say this: I like Edmund just for the fact that he needs it. You know what I mean? And because he came in on fire, right? Everyone's like, "Oh shit, Edmund Sebastian, he's crazy," and all this stuff. Great, right? And then he had like 2 or 3 in a row, and then he lost like 3 in a row. Won one, lost another one.
Eddie, do you know why this contest is at 290 or is it 194 and 197 pounds?
Someone called and wasn't making weight. I want to say no. You know what? Did someone fell out of this fight? Right? No one fell out of this fight. Yeah, it must be that someone's not doing well with the weight.
That's very interesting.
So is it middleweight? Is it cat? So it says middle. That's weird. You know what? Disregard the weights. That's not what I mean. It's a middleweight bout, right? Let me check. Topology usually tells you if it's a catch weight. It's not a catch weight. It's 185. So they better be 185. So should be all right.
Kevin says Edmund is the early level fraud check. He's like, if you beat him, you belong here. If you don't, then you don't belong here.
Not mad at that.
I think that's a fair statement for probably both of these guys and a lot of the competitors that we see on the UFC Apex cards. But at the same time, Edmund, I believe, is still young. He came into the UFC at like 23 years of age, so he kind of had to learn on the job, which a lot of guys do have to do. When we see Charles Oliveira turn the corner in his career. We see Chase Hooper turning the corner in his career now as well. I've got Edmund Shahbazyan in this one. I think the length. I think he's going to be able to kickbox him from the outside with leg kicks and a good jab. He has had trouble keeping guys off of him in the past, especially up against the cage. Mm-hmm. Where are you at in this one, Eddie? And do you think those problems will come to fruition again this weekend?
With this fight, right?
Yeah.
Edmund trains with Nixick, right? Extreme.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think if anyone's gonna be able to game plan against Budka, a young, relatively green fighter in the UFC, I think it's gonna be him. So no, I think Edmund's will be able to handle it. It'll be a decision win for him, I think.
Yeah, that's what I have as well in this one. But moving along down the card, we do have 2 highly touted prospects, and Ismail Bonfim, who comes into this one at 20-4, and Nazim Sadiakov, who comes into this one at 9-1-1. Now, Sadiakov has almost twice as few fights as Bonfim here. Is that, a cause for concern for you this weekend?
Yeah, experience is always a cause. It's always an issue, right? If you're inexperienced, you find someone that has way more experience than you, it's a problem. But Nazim trains out of that Ray Longo, right? Sarah Longo? Yeah, Sarah Longo. Out of that Sarah Longo fight camp.
From Azerbaijan.
Yeah. And that is a camp that's pretty good at game planning. Right. If you look at Aljo, if you look at Marab, if you look at the guys that come out of that camp, even Chris Weidman back in the day before he threw that god awful spinning wheel kick and got fucked up by Luke. Like, outside of that, they're really good game planners. So I don't see the lack of experience being a huge factor, but it's definitely gonna be something Bonfim is gonna lean on, right? Mm-hmm. And so I honestly don't know who to pick in this one. I'm leaning Bonfim. But you never know, man. Azim is a tough, grind out type of fighter.
Yeah, this is really interesting to me. Bonfim's won 4 of his last 5, and his only loss is to Benoit Saint Denis. Now, Saint Denis has been struggling, but at one point in time when Bonfim fought against him, he was the rising contender on his way to fighting Dustin Poirier. Now, for Nazim Sadiakov, his last contest was a draw against Virshad Borishev, who we saw lose either last weekend or the weekend before. Mm-hmm. But Sadiakov has not lost himself since 2018. So it's been a long time since Sadiakov has tasted defeat. He's going to have Ray Longo in his corner in this one. I'm going to take Sadiakov in this one by decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bonfim continues the winning streak this weekend and moves it to 5 out of his last 6.
Yeah, and in terms, so I'm going Bonfim, but I'm going Bonfim not based on experience, but based on activity. Okay. Pretty simple. Bonfim fought in 2024. So Nazim did not. He did not. And last time we saw him fight, 2023, end of 2023, I want to say it was a draw. He fought Slava Claus, Vyacheslav. He fought him to a draw. So, if anything, the rust will get him, I think.
Yeah. And Bonfim's been submitted 4 times. Sadiakov only has 2 submissions on his record. So it looks to me like this is going to be a stand-up striking contest. Do you favor Bonfim striking over Sadiakov's in this one?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, 100%. So,
yeah. I think it'll be interesting. Maybe Sadiakov can use the length, the experience, the coaching, of Ray Longo as well. Can't be discounted for. We're going to split on this one. Eddie's going Bonfim decision. I'm going Sadiakov, but it's certainly an interesting contest. Can we see the odds on this one real quick? I think it's going to be pretty close. It is pretty close, but at least closer than the first two fights. Yeah. But the underdog is Sadiakov, and that's probably a lot to do with the experience of 24 fights for Ismail Bonfim. But moving down the card, we have a grappler's delight between former Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion Rodolfo Vieira and black belt Andre Petroski. Petroski is 12-4, while Rodolfo Vieira comes into this one at 10-2. This is going to be a fantastic contest, in my opinion, Eddie, but more often than not, when we have two grapplers going against each other, it ends up in a striking affair because neither one thinks the juice is worth the squeeze of taking each other to the ground. If this one did hit the ground, I'd have to favor Rodolfo Vieira. And I'm not saying that Andre Petroski is the best striker in the world. We obviously saw he had problems against Michel Pereira a few fights ago. But I do believe that he is younger and more athletic than Rodolfo Vieira. And if this fight stays standing, he will have an advantage over Vieira on the feet. He has to be cautious if this fight hits the ground because Vieira obviously is one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners of all time. But I like Andre in this matchup, surprisingly. I'll see where your head's at on it, Eddie.
Jake Noker, our beloved Jake Noker, out of Philly, won the Super Bowl. The Philly Eagles won the Super Bowl. He's he knows Andre. He's cool with him. Mm-hmm. Philly's luck runs out this weekend, folks. Y'all ain't winning everything. Hell no. Y'all got the Super Bowl. You're good. You got the MVP. You're good. By the way, good job. Sent the Chiefs home. Good shit. But it ends there, because Vieira's going to rock this dude to shit. Now, he's not going to knock him out. What I think is going to happen is what happens every single time. Andre Petroski is going to get tired and then go headfirst into a takedown and get kneed in the head and knocked out. That's my prediction.
Well, I mean, we'll have to see. Petroski has picked up 2 wins in a row over Budka and Josh Fremd. They are not necessarily on the level of competition as Rodolfo Vieira, but we've seen Vieira himself get submitted by Anthony Hernandez in the past. Is the cardio a problem for you when you think about Vieira if this does hit the later rounds?
It's going to be hilarious because everyone's going to be making fun of it, and then because it's going to get to the third round probably. Like by the third round, both guys are going to be gassed out, wheezing and shit like that. Everyone online is going to be like, "These guys, what are you talking? Send them to the PFL, shit like that." I don't dislike the guy, by the way. I like both guys. They're actually cool. All right. Even though Jason Kelsey has a way better beard than Andre, I'll say it twice. But these guys are not. We're talking about guys that are not going to get to a title fight. That's what we're talking about. So,
but it is our job to talk about them. So,
100%. So, I'll say this much. Okay. Oh God, I hate saying this. If you got to go to the bathroom, bro, this is the fight to do.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
If you look, Ben Askren and Damian Maia, Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, when you get the two grapplers, it ends up in a striking exchange. Neither one of these are the best strikers in the world.
At all.
But if it hits the ground, we are going to be in tune for a very competitive contest that might have some very interesting grappling exchanges in it as well. I pray to the MMA gods that this fight hits the floor at some point. Or like you're saying, Eddie, we might have an uneventful 15 minutes here between these two guys.
If we're lucky, we'll get a double knockout. I'm just saying, maybe I think.
Go bet it on FanDuel, double knockout. You'll make a fortune. You can buy a house.
Is that even possible? Yeah. All right. Let's see the odds on this one. Geez, Vieira, damn.
Big favorite. I think they like the submission grappling of Vieira.
You know what?
It's 4.
Now that I think about it, Petroski does have this really annoying habit of like asking to get submitted. Right now, he doesn't get. I don't think he gets submitted.
Brian Battle.
There you go. Like he just dives in. It's like a wrestler on his first day in jiu-jitsu, right? White belt. They just keep diving in. You can get him with guillotines. You can get him with Kimuras, whatever you want off your back. I think it's gonna be that kind of deal. He might even get the sub. Who knows? But I don't know, dude.
Vieira has only won by sub in the UFC.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably his most common path to victory here is Andre shoots in too much and maybe leaves his neck exposed or Rodolfo gets to the back. But I think there is, like I said, there's going to be some good grappling exchanges if the fight hits the floor. If not, it could be a snoozer, like Eddie said, and the right fight to order some pizza during. So
100%.
So beware of that. We don't only have one Bonfim brother on this card. We have both Bonfim brothers. And Gabriel Bonfim, 16-1, coming into this one against Chaos Williams. This is my pick for fight of the night. I think this is going to be all action. Chaos Williams brings it every single time at 15-3, facing the 16-1 Gabriel Bonfim. Williams comes across the cage looking to do one thing and one thing only, separate his opponent from consciousness. Well, Bonfim is very well-rounded, but he did have that one hiccup against Nicholas Dalby in where he did get stopped. So he did have a one loss in the UFC, but he has bounced back with a win. Who do you like in this one? And were you surprised this is buried down on the prelims in the third fight of the night?
The order on this card is weird overall. I know people don't like that women's MMA. Y'all fucking weird, but I get it. All right. But Angela Hill's on the like buried in not just in the prelims. She's buried in the prelims. This fight somehow buried in the prelims. This fight should be on the main card. It should be on the main card. So, how do I say this fight? Chaos Williams doing Chaos Williams shit, trying to just do some crazy, making it, make a. I'll say what he's gonna do. Someone's gonna hit him up for an interview. He's gonna agree to it. Then he's gonna go out there and do something crazy, and then he's gonna ghost him, thinking he's too cool.
Has that happened before?
Oh, not at all. Look, I'm not sour about it. It is what it is. But Chaos, here's what he says. He's Chaos. He wants to. He doesn't like boring fights, and it's not going to be a boring fight. He's going to go after Gabriel Bonfim. Bonfim needs to be measured, needs to be a sniper with the counters, and then find a way to get the fight down to the ground where he can control it, right? And then see how it goes from there. But if I had to make a pick, dude, I think Chaos does something nasty and like makes a statement on Saturday.
I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't, especially if it gets into the third round or so. 12 submission wins from Bonfim, 8 knockout victories for Chaos Williams. Another striker versus grappler matchup that could lead to fireworks. If you're going to take Chaos Williams, in my opinion, take him early bettors. I believe that if he wins this contest, he's going to do so in the first 2 rounds. If this one goes the distance, I truly believe that it's because Gabriel Bonfim has controlled him for 15 minutes. It made a grappling disadvantage come to fruition when the fight hits the ground. So maybe Bonfim can pull off a submission, but if he does not pull off a submission, he could easily have a short night on his hands with Chaos Williams.
I'm putting $5 on him in Chaos. Fuck. Plus 180.
There's the odds down there, fight fans. Minus 218 for Bonfim, plus 180 for Chaos Williams. I'm sure you can get him by knockout, the most likely chance to victory, at around plus 300, whether it's on FanDuel Sportsbook or ESPN. But we do have to talk about Elijah Mitchell and Vince Morales. I believe that is one fight below, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, Vince Morales, yeah.
Elijah Mitchell comes off the Contender Series with a knockout in the third round, a highly touted prospect.
A fun-ass knockout, first of all. That was sick. Sorry, go ahead.
Versus Vince Morales. But, Eddie, we've seen in the last 2 cards, Austin Bashi and Cody Steele both go down and lose their O's, coming off the Contender Series, making debuts here in the UFC. Do you think that this is going to be too much against the veteran Vince Morales for Elijah Smith? Or do we finally get an American prospect off the Contender Series that can steamroll downhill and get themselves a win?
Vince Morales has this knack of underperforming when he should be destroying. Okay. It just feels, I don't know if it's bad luck. I don't know what it is. Okay. But every time I think this dude's finally going to do it, he's finally going to do something crazy, he's finally going to, make a run, he just eats it and he finds a way out of the UFC. Comes back in, last time out, gets a decision, lose by decision. He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get knocked out at all. Right. Coming off that Peruvian necktie win at UFL, I think it was here in Vegas or here in Arizona.
And Taylor Lapilus is a good fighter too. The French prospect. Lapilus is good.
Elijah Smith just showed me in Contender Series that he's able to overcome style matchups, I think. And so let me rewind a little bit. I think this is me hoping that we have a new star in the making here with Elijah Smith, because I think we do. He's a lot of fun. I forget his record off the top of my head in terms of finishes and all that.
7-1, 4 knockouts, 1 knockout loss on his record, 1 submission, never been submitted.
Give me that. Right.
Yeah.
So I think this is, we're about to watch a star be born. Maybe not this Saturday, but in the next few fights, Elijah Smith is going to prove his worth. And I want, as much as I like Vince, man, I don't think he's going to be the kind of guys they would hang around too long.
Yeah, and Vince is a tough customer. I don't
Very
see
much.
Vince Morales getting finished this weekend.
no.
I think that he actually pushes Elijah Smith at times, especially as this fight goes later. I want to see what the gas tank of the 22-year-old Elijah Smith looks like. But I do believe that Vince Morales is going to push him at points in this contest. Could we see the odds on this one, Eddie? I think this is probably going to favor – no odds yet. So the odds makers are still trying to decide what to put out there for the Morales and Elijah Smith fight. They do have it on ESPN as I check, plus 125 for Morales, minus 150 for the 22-year-old Elijah Smith. What do you make of the age discrepancy? We have the 34-year-old veteran Vince Morales. He has a plentiful more amount of fights than him, 16 more fights than him to be exact, but he is 12 years older. Does that play a factor to you in your pick this weekend?
Sure. I mean, the experience factor is there for Vince. He's not going to freak out, right? He's going to be patient with a lot of things. You're not going to scare him. You're not going to throw flying knees at him and he's like, oh shit, I don't know what to do. He's going to know what to do. But, miles on the wheels, already been out of the UFC once. I know everyone's like, oh, he's going to be hungry to stay. We've seen that movie before and it rarely works out. So again,
yeah, and at 34 years old, how long are we talking about of a stay? I mean, maybe 3-4 more fights if he gets a victory this weekend.
If he wins, if he wins.
Yeah.
So and again, this is featherweight. Yeah, the bantamweight. The bantamweight division is always weird.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take, as well as Eddie, I'm going to take Elijah Smith in this one by decision. I think this is going to be a close and competitive contest. Don't be surprised if this goes to some sort of split decision or controversial call at the end. Vince Morales is a very experienced fighter and has been there and done that in the UFC. But Elijah Smith is going to be 12 years younger. He's an incredible athlete and has a lot of hype behind him coming off the Contender Series. I'm going to take Smith by decision. Is that where you're going to, Eddie?
Yeah, Smith by decision. I don't. He could get a knockout, but I doubt it. Not against Vince. Not against that kind of experience.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other fight that you'd like to talk about on the rest of this card?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there on Saturday, so we could talk about all of them. But if I have to pick one, Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I don't think she gets enough credit for how good she really is. I know a lot of people give her shit.
Maines is ranked 15th.
It's heavyweight, bro.
What in the world?
But homie, I'm ranked at heavyweight. Let's just relax. Okay? So, let's see. Where's Jared Gordon? Although he's got a short notice.
Yeah, I haven't seen much on this guy, but he is. I believe he's 20-4 or something like that, and has 12 knockout wins. I'm interested to see how he looks against Gordon.
And then Ketlin Zauser, she gets a win over Angela Hill. She's gonna start making her way into calling out like the Verna Jandarobas and shit like that of the division. So,
if Angela Hill loses, do you think she calls it a career? At 40 years old. Ooh. I love Angela Hill, pioneer of the sport.
I hope not. I don't want her to retire in a fucking Apex. Like, let her retire in Vegas, like at the freaking T-Mobile Arena or in San Diego if you want to go back there in California somewhere. But for the love of God, don't let that poor girl put her gloves on in the freaking Apex.
Yeah.
And I like the Apex, but that's not where someone like Angela Hill or any of the other veterans that have been here forever. Like, Angela Hill's a good fighter. All right. She's not a killer like Ronda was in her heyday or God, even close to Amanda Nunes. Right. But she's been good. She's been really good. So, yeah, I think she might if she gets like dominated, she might, but who knows?
Yeah. So that is the UFC fight card that we have for you guys this weekend. We will be back next Tuesday as normally aired and scheduled. I had to get a new laptop. The other one kind of went out on us. So we are back to our regularly scheduled routine next Tuesday at 7:00. Me and Eddie will be back. We'll be breaking down the UFC Fight Night card from this weekend, breaking down any news that breaks over the weekend, and then also looking ahead to the fight nights coming up, whether it be the PFL or the UFC on the schedule. So tune back in next week, fight fans, and we'll have your coverage here live on Cage Side Press. This has been the Combat Connection. I'm Brett Cagle, and that's Eddie Wall.